another day in fucking paradise.
How'd it go, Donald?
Not too bad. This ink is impossible to wash off my fingers, though. Hey, I think somebody pranked me. Joe, you little rascal. Was this your dirty work?
April Fools.
If you were the one in charge down there, I'm gonna be pissed.
Nah, that was the only idea I was allowed.
What else happened, Don?
They didn't let me get my mug shot.
Why not? I was looking forward to that.
They said some bullshit, but they really didn't want me using it to win the election.
That would have given you so much clout, I'll be honest.
I'm thinking about making my own.
Don't bother, I'm gonna beat you again in round 2, Donald.
You're our only hope.
Pandemic is over, motherfucker. No more excuses to stay inside. If you want to beat me this time, you'll actually need to do it for real. That's assuming you even survive that long.
I'll probably outlast your extra large ass.
That would be a long shot, especially with your tendency for bicycle accidents. Even a set of uneven stairs could take your ass out.
It's honestly a toss-up. I might need to get facial reconstruction and run again if homie keel's over.
Maybe that big booty Latina has a shot at beating Dawn.
AOC? No shot. She would get triggered and cry from even being in the same room as me.
Yeah, if she became president, I think every country in the world would nuke us immediately.
I would fully support that decision if that were the case.
I honestly don't even want to think about that shit right now. How about a tier list?
You already know what I want, Barack.
No Joe, 5K subs. Then we can get bricked up to fictional characters.
Okay, fine, but if it takes too long, I'm gonna use taxpayer dollars to make it without you.
Don't be a bitch, Joe.
What list are we doing then?
Let's try to work through Star Wars. The people have been asking for it.
I'm down with that.
Wait a minute. Is this the fucking Disney Star Wars episode?
Yeah, it is. Ha ha.
You are seriously trying to attack my mental health right now.
Kinda am, but we can start with something that isn't god-awful. How do we feel about Rogue One?
Okay, you've got me. I totally forgot Disney did this one because it's actually a good movie.
Just good. Fuck that. This movie is bussin'.
I'm curious to see where we land here.
I'm just going to straight up say B tier.
Congratulations. You're being stupid.
Let me guess. You're at S tier.
Damn right I am. The cinematography was amazing. Andor is a great character. The space battle was borderline the best in any Star Wars movie, and Darth Vader is in it. What more could you want?
It suffers many of the same issues as our old pal Return of the Jedi. First act was pretty cringe, and the plot excluding the final act was mid.
I'm somewhere in between y'all. I see Don's issues with the first arc, but the characters are awesome, with the exception of one.
Who are you talking about?
Saw Gerrera was the most lame character in this shit.
I thought he was cool. Plus, I love him in the Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars being peak doesn't give this film an excuse to have no logic. I mean, seriously, he said, I can't come with you. I'm done running. When that was legit the only option, the fucking whole place was exploding.
Shit was ass. Just walk 10 feet to the fucking ship. You don't even need to run.
Okay, but I feel like that's one small issue.
To be honest with you, I don't agree that the characters were all that good. Krennic was good, Andor and his droid were great, but Jyn was pretty basic. As for literally all other characters that this film creates originally, high-key ass.
That's not true, Donald.
Yeah, and you look like the tentacle monster from this movie.
Name any original character in this movie besides the characters I mentioned.
Well, that's not fair. Krennic was awesome.
I see your point, to be honest. I can't name a single one. I can't even remember the droid's name, and he's my favorite.
The only way I've been able to remember the characters' roles in the story at all is by making up nicknames for all these losers. Robot, Tubby, Illegal, and Shitty Jedi.
Let's be honest, though. Last act carries the whole viewing experience, and the writing comes together.
And I'll admit that, though there needed to be more Vader in this movie for sure.
Okay, maybe it's not perfect, but still a great movie.
I wouldn't say great.
I would. So I think we settle at A tier.
Cool.
Okay, Donald, your true fears have been realized, and we're going to have to rate the Disney trilogy.
Oh, so we stopped ranking Star Wars, and now we're ranking man-made disasters?
Come on, they were kind of fun movies, Don.
Joe, I realize you're on your way out of this life. You're not as sharp as you used to be, and we all know you weren't very sharp to start with. But even your primitive reptilian brain can take a moment to collect your thoughts and realize these were some of the most hot garbage films ever made.
Well, Force Awakens wasn't bad.
What do you think, Don?
It was fucking bad. Rey is a complete Mary Sue, the plot was borderline plagiarized, and the world building is like the entire franchise blew its fucking brains out before the cameras even started rolling. There should be a new award at the Oscars, named after J.J. Abrams for the most mid-movie of the year. Dude is a hobbit with the creative capacity of a cave troll.
You're just a fucking jaded Disney hater.
Plenty of people agree with me. Are you just okay with the way they destroyed Han Solo's character?
They didn't destroy him, per se.
They completely fucking destroyed it. He was a sad husk of his former glory. You mean to tell me that you expected Han to be a divorced loser responsible for his genocidal moody kid to take over the galaxy with pure gamer rage?
Oh, come on, Donnie. Kylo was pretty cool.
No, he fucking wasn't. He sucked Rathtar dicks.
Geez, Donnie, it's like you actually have personal beef with this movie. I thought it was a fun watch.
A fun fucking watch? What else is a fun watch to you, Barack? The Hindenburg 9/11? Your fucking wife's life story on Netflix?
Okay, now you're just being crazy. The action was great. Characters weren't bad, especially Finn and Poe.
Hux is pretty okay, too.
Was that a positive comment?
Of course you like Hux. You probably took notes from his speech for your rallies.
Pretty sick speech, to be honest. But the positives pretty much end there. The First Order is a fucking joke, and what in the fuck is the Resistance resisting if the good guys won?
At least it's kind of like in Phantom Menace, how the ending fight makes up for the bad stuff.
It's not even fucking close. The prequel duels are infinitely better than the sequels. It's like they totally forgot how to do a lightsaber fight. There isn't a good one in the entire trilogy.
I watched a video that explained it. Disney decided to use their lightsaber models in the saber fights, while the prequels and OT used prop sabers with thin metal rods for their duel. The metal rods were faster and more dangerous, so you had to be more trained to even use them safely. The Disney sabers were bulkier and harder to do the complex art forms that the prequels had mastered.
That makes a lot of sense, considering I've had more interesting saber fights with my children than what appeared in these trash movies.
I still think the movie is an entertaining tribute to what came before.
You mean a pandering, plagiarized mess?
Sheesh, the more I think about it, the less I like it.
If you look at the positive reviews for this movie, they're either extremely surface-level reviews or from people who weren't even fans of Star Wars to begin with.
You are pretty correct here, especially since they didn't use any of the momentum from this story to make the next two movies compelling.
I don't care. This movie is good.
Tell me how. You keep saying what a great movie this is, yet you haven't defended even one of my points.
I think Ray is hot.
Dude.
Put this fucking shit in F tier.
No, Donald, it is not down in F tier. You'll give the actual F tiers a good name.
Any higher than D tier and I'll be upset.
I'm at A tier.
Fuck off.
You're not giving an inch on these movies, are you?
Imagine if someone said Clone Wars was F tier.
I'd probably call Hillary's guys.
That's right, I'm not allowing a positive rating.
Would you go C tier?
I would still be angry.
I could agree on that.
That's right where I am, and it splits the difference, so I think that's where we stand.
Seeing it under all the prequels is good enough, I guess.
I'm glad we made it through that one. What about The Last Jedi?
Worst fucking movie to ever be projected on fucking screens.
This movie is bad.
Yeah, there's no real way around this one.
Rian Johnson, that pathetic little worm, could have single-handedly killed this entire franchise with this exceptionally idiotic movie.
When Disney acquired Star Wars, I was always afraid that something like this would happen. Rogue One gave me a lot of hope, but this was all my fears realized. This movie feels like a very different type of sci-fi movie, not Star Wars.
Not only is it a horrible movie due to the dumbass plot, it isn't entertaining at all. Whatever you could find enjoyable about the characters from the last movie is now gone and replaced with bastardized versions of themselves. If that wasn't enough, they managed to destroy Luke's character to its very core. It takes malicious intent to fuck Luke Skywalker up to the point where he is now.
At least they gave him a proper tribute.
I found it disrespectful at best.
You're both way off. Ryan could have pulled a Cersei Lannister and whipped Luke through all the streets of Coruscant naked, and that still would have been more respectful than what they gave him. Luke's character is hopeful and faithful to his ideals, even in spite of insurmountable odds. What we see in this movie is a disrespectful old rotten hermit that commits bestiality on alien camels.
Damn, what about the cool space explosion?
That shit was universe-breaking and not earned by the character whatsoever.
Holdo is probably the worst character in the franchise right next to Rose. Between the both of them, you can see why it was a massive mistake to sell Star Wars to Disney.
Ray is kind of hot, though.
She's pretty mid now that I really think about it.
I guess we'll see in the Star Wars waifu tier list. What about Porgs?
I wish Chewie ate them all.
Do we want to talk about how Rian Johnson blamed the toxic fans for the backlash of this movie?
That is a galactic-sized cope.
It's like he gets off on being wrong. Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson should have just made a new franchise to play with their terrible woke Karen plot, led by female Giga Chads, and left Star Wars the fuck out of it.
Rose was such a bad character that she dragged Finn down to her level. Their entire plot line could have been cut, and it would have actually improved the movie.
Holdo could have been pretty hot, but her character was just too space Karen for me to stay bricked up.
She sucks so fucking bad. Poe should have blasted her right in her snarky fucking face.
She was so bad that we barely even remember the goofy Leia space flying shit.
Why is that the most tame and logical shit in this movie? even with her being fucking dead when this released.
Because Rian Johnson is a fucking moron and needed to subvert our expectations. Only he subverted the expectation that he could make a good movie, especially after he made Knives Out, which was amazing. Nobody saw a legendary pile of shit like this coming.
Oh my fucking God. We haven't even got to the throne room scene.
Worst saber fight ever. Looked like when you were with the boys and got in trouble at Target for fighting with the lightsaber toys.
What's weird is Snoke's death wasn't surprising. It was just so mind-bendingly stupid that, of course, nobody expected it.
Snoke was kind of cool in the last movie, and Andy Serkis is a goat, but it seems like Ryan just threw away anything important to JJ on principle.
Just like when Biden became president.
Hey, you did the same shit to me.
When I win, I'll fucking do it again.
It's fine in politics, but Star Wars is a story, and a story shouldn't have its whole direction up in the air for the next person to do whatever the fuck.
It was the largest cinematic failure of all time.
Mark Hamill tried to warn us it was over at every point, poor guy.
Seriously. The dude was the entire franchise, and some man baby told him his opinion for this movie didn't matter at all whatsoever. I have legitimate rage for what Disney, Rian Johnson, and Kathleen Kennedy have done to molest this franchise and everyone who loved it. When I become president again, my first executive order is to decanonize these historically shit tier films.
That's a pretty good idea. I might try to do that in election season.
Okay, we all agree this movie stinks worse than Rian Johnson's Mangina. Let's condemn it to F tier so it can't hurt us anymore.
You were right. Even The Force Awakens couldn't be in the same tier as this monstrosity.
Now the other one, The Rise of Skywalker.
This movie was a diss track of the last movie, and it still was just as bad.
That is actually a perfect summary of this movie. Joe, bravo!
Thank you, Donnie.
But seriously, somehow Palpatine Returned actually was written on paper and got set as a line in this fucking movie.
The prequels have even better dialogue than these movies, but it's hard to tell because of all the mental gymnastics you need to do to even pay attention to the plot.
This movie was insulting. Just copying and pasting Star Destroyers doesn't make me feel like the stakes are higher.
Just like the last one, this movie was all CGI and no brain.
It was so funny how Rose was straight up cut from this movie.
At least they treated Luke's ghost with some respect.
True, it's almost sad that we see this type of devotion to Luke from JJ. I would have rather had a complete Abrams trilogy, but I know it would be mid at best.
The plot here is so ADHD, it's insane. Jumping from planet to planet, trying to cover enough ground to justify a climactic conclusion.
How come it was all new planets, but it looked like every single planet was a copy of what we've seen before?
This movie is so fucking boring, I fell asleep like 14 times. I found next to no redeeming qualities from watching ruined characters look for a thing, and then a knife, and then translate the knife, and then...
Joe, wake up!
Oh, my bad. The worst part was the last act, something that was never done in a Star Wars movie before. I mean, they straight up copied Avengers Endgame and could not have made it more obvious.
Bro, what the fuck was that Kylo and Rey die and kiss and die?
That was the only part of the movie I really liked. I laughed out loud in the theater.
It was actually fucking funny. How was their kiss more cringe than every time Luke and Leia kissed?
It makes sense. My sister is the love of my life.
Do you guys think Palpatine was even good in this movie?
I only think there was one good character in the whole film, and he was a meme character.
Babu Frick.
You know it.
On God, that little guy was high-key drippy.
It's like the opposite of Phantom Menace, where the meme character is the best part and the movie sucked dick.
Best thing about this whole trilogy, to be honest.
How did you guys like the Chewie death fake-out?
It surprised me because I genuinely thought they hated all the characters from the OT, and blowing him up by accident would not have been nearly the worst treatment of a previous character in these films.
This movie was so bad, I honestly didn't care if Chewie was dead or not. He was dead the second Disney got its claws around him.
At least he finally got his medal.
Nah, man. Those guys brutally butcher every character we love and then give Chewie a handout in response to a meme. I'm sure he enjoyed his fucking medal after all his friends were torn to shreds by screeching feminist losers.
We got to talk about how dirty they did my boy Finn.
He was a fantastic character that had a great backstory in Force Awakens. They made him look like an idiot in the second film, and in this film he just screams, "Rey!" the entire movie while she ignores him.
I really wanted Rey and Finn to end up together. I love black dicks and white chicks.
Too bad that would be a satisfying end to the story. Instead, they just pulled a Marvel superhero trope and made a gender-swapped clone of Finn.
I'm pretty sure Lando stole her at the end of the movie, too.
Oh, yeah, he's going to show her who Daddy is.
John Boyega didn't deserve that.
Dude, this fucking movie was such a passionless fart with pretty colors.
It's actually hard for me to tell you which movie was worse, this one or the last one.
I think the last one was worse, but this one deserves to be an F tier as well for trying to reverse The Last Jedi and being just as bad while doing it.
Yeah, just put it in F tier so it can die.
Also, that Rey Skywalker line was fucking dumb.
I'm pretty sure that line was just to get people to start leaving the theater.
What a way to end the worst trilogy mankind has ever seen.
Okay, guys, I think we'll wrap this up. Part 4 will be the last part, and we'll go over the Disney Star Wars series.
It'll be a lot less depressing than this shit.
I want to thank all the viewers for watching. We've been growing at light speed. Please subscribe so we can do some alien waifu lists.
You heard him. If you don't subscribe, Rey will kiss you and you'll die of cringe.
May the Force be with you.